What if I told you the Avengers literally tore themselves apart over a guy who could see the future? Sounds insane, right? But here's the kicker. This wasn't aliens or Thanos. It was their own moral divide. Enter Ulysses, an Inhuman with the power to predict crimes before they even happen. Minority Report vibes. Captain Marvel sees this as the ultimate weapon. Stop disasters before they start, save billions of lives. But Iron Man? Nah, he's not buying it. To him, this feels like playing God with probability. Therefore, the stage is set. Carol wants to change destiny. Tony wants to protect free will at all costs. Bro, imagine your best friend telling you trust the future, and you're like, the future isn't written. But here's the wild part. Ulysses' first vision? Thanos invading Earth. And he's right, the Avengers stop him. Sounds like proof, right? Therefore, Carol doubles down, we can't waste this gift. She's fully in. But Tony? He's staring at the bodies. Because even in victory, heroes die, and choices still have consequences. Bro, think about this. If you know tomorrow's pain, do you save lives or gamble with destiny? And that's where everything fractures. The Avengers split, not over enemies, but over belief. That's scarier than any villain. Captain Marvel builds her squad. She-Hulk, War Machine, Medusa. Soldiers ready to use the future like ammo. Meanwhile, Iron Man's camp grows. Black Panther, Luke Cage, even Spider-Man heroes saying, nope, this is too far. But here's the twist. It's not just teams, it's family. Friends who fought side by side are now staring down barrels. Therefore, the tension skyrockets. This isn't a war of power. It's a war of philosophy, identity, and choice. Bro, imagine Spider-Man stuck in the middle, idolizing both leaders, terrified of picking the wrong side. But the dominoes keep falling, because Ulysses' next vision? A cosmic-level tragedy nobody sees coming. Therefore, the heroes don't just argue, they act. And every action rewrites destiny into something darker. And that's when it hits. You're not watching Avengers versus villains. You're watching Avengers versus themselves. But wait! Ulysses sees the Hulk killing the Avengers, and suddenly paranoia spreads faster than any alien invasion. Captain Marvel insists they confront Banner before disaster strikes, but Iron Man screams, "You're punishing a man for thoughts." Therefore, the Avengers storm Banner's lab, fear painted on their faces as if guilt already hangs over him. Bruce begs, "I'm cured, I promise." But the silence around him feels like a courtroom without mercy. And then the arrow flies. Hawkeye, with Banner's permission, fires the shot that ends the Hulk forever. Bro, imagine that, one of their own, executed by another Avenger, live in front of their teammates. But here's the wild part. Hawkeye claims Bruce asked him to do it, to prevent that dark prophecy. Therefore, the heroes fracture deeper. Was it mercy, or murder, or just fate taking a shortcut through blood? Iron Man stares at Carol like, this is your fault. You made this madness real. But Captain Marvel stands firm, whispering, if we don't act, more die. I'll carry that weight. Bro, think about that level of conflict. Justice versus free will, wrapped in grief, guilt, and impossible choices. And then Ulysses sees another future. Spider-Man Miles Morales, standing over Captain America's dead body. But wait, this isn't a random street fight. This is Destiny's loudest scream, and it terrifies everyone. Therefore, Captain Marvel moves to detain Miles, believing she's preventing Cap's death before it happens. Iron Man loses it. He's just a kid. You're locking people up for crimes they haven't committed. Bro, imagine being Miles. Your idols fighting over your fate, one ready to cage you, one ready to bleed for you. But here's the twist. The world is watching. News cameras roll, public faith crumbles, and heroes look like tyrants. Therefore, what started as a debate now burns into a civil war. Public, personal, and unavoidable. And the scariest part? Ulysses keeps evolving, his visions growing sharper, almost godlike, controlling the flow of destiny. But Iron Man finally realizes, this isn't about visions anymore. It's about who gets to decide what tomorrow means. Bro, picture it. Iron Man and Captain Marvel finally throw down. Fists and powers colliding like gods rewriting history. The sky splits with their rage, every punch shaking Earth, every word cutting deeper than any blade could. But here's the twist. Their teammates don't even know whose side to take anymore, loyalty drowning in confusion. Therefore, Spider-Man watches in horror, realizing this war isn't about saving lives anymore. It's about egos burning. And the wild part? The civilians cheer and panic at the same time, idolizing their heroes yet fearing them. Iron Man's armor cracks, blood dripping, but he still screams, "We don't decide the future, we earn it." Captain Marvel, glowing with cosmic fury, shouts back, "We stop tragedies before they happen, no matter the cost." Bro, imagine two leaders, both right and both wrong, tearing apart the very team they built together. But then, one final blow. Captain Marvel unleashes everything, shattering Tony's suit, leaving him broken and unconscious. Silence follows, heavier than thunder, the Avengers standing frozen, watching a leader fall by a friend's hand. Therefore, the so-called victory feels hollow. Yes, Carol stands tall, but at what cost to her soul? Miles Morales stares, guilt crushing him, whispering, They destroyed everything, just to decide what I might become. But wait, the world doesn't see heroes anymore. They see tyrants, dictators, soldiers, fighting their own reflection. Therefore, the Avengers, legacy fractures, trust evaporates, and tomorrow's hope feels smaller than it ever has before. Bro, think about it. This wasn't aliens, wasn't Thanos, wasn't Kang. It was them, destroying themselves from inside out. But here's the glimmer. Sometimes a fall is necessary because rebuilding can create something stronger than before. And therefore Civil War II becomes less about winners and losers and more about scars that shape tomorrow. Captain Marvel walks away carrying the weight of justice. Iron Man lies broken, carrying the truth of freedom. Miles, Gwen, and Peter look at the ruins, realizing the next generation must rise differently or repeat history. And here's the spicy takeaway. Heroes don't always fall to villains. Sometimes they fall to each other.